like not intermission, but this is
The
the
intro.
yeah the intro, the coffee meetup. Uh,
Do I have to wear any pants for this?
you know, that's on your TOS and not on mine. So
No,
so
it's
so
fine.
so, but I appreciate the decorations and stuff though, and all the bobbleheads in the background.
Oh yeah, you like it? Thank you.
Yeah, I recognize some of them. So you've got Mega Man, you've got
Mhm,
Mercy, you've
mhm,
got, is that Squirtle?
mhm.
Okay, and then uh Deku? Is
Yes,
that
sir.
okay? Let's see if I can recognize or any of the other ones. I don't know why I'm leaning into the screen like this is gonna help at all.
I do that too, especially with video games. When you play games and you're like looking for something, it's like it's there. I
Yeah,
swear.
this isn't gonna help at all. What other ones do you have? Because I can't. Oh wait, that is oh god, I can't remember the name of the anime. Where they get turned into monsters.
Dragon Ball
Tokyo,
Z.
no, Tokyo
Oh
Ghoul,
wait,
right?
this one? This?
No, the pop figures. The one, what's the one where?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tokyo
Like
Ghoul,
that.
right? Yeah.
There,
Yep.
kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Um, and then you've got some. Is that manga? And the we're kind of just playing Where's Waldo right now with trying to
Yeah,
figure
it's all good, man.
figure out where everything's going on. Um, Meanwhile, I have a TV and green carpet. I don't. You can't really see all the stuff that I have. Um, but no, it's cool. I like it. Yeah. What are um the posters and stuff that you have? I can't see necessarily all the
I
fine
have
details, but
these two are Bloodborne posters that I got from a friend from high school.
okay.
And then this is a Tokyo Ghoul poster, and
Okay.
then that is a Attack on Titan poster.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
awesome. I yeah, I wondered if that was Bloodborne. That's the moon presence, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, awesome. Are you a fan of Bloodborne at all? I
I
take it.
love Bloodborne. I still have to. No, I absolutely hate it. I like what.
Yeah, he gave me these and I
But
had no idea what they were.
it's all good. I was I'm doing a playthrough with a friend of mine, Phoenix. It's been put on a pause because I have to get materials, but it's a lot of fun. I absolutely love it.
I have several friends that are kind of like in the Bloodborne speedrunning community, and they absolutely love it, and the challenges and stuff that they do at this point. It's actually, of all the Soulsborne games, that's probably my favorite, to be completely honest. And then
Yeah.
um I'd probably put Sekiro underneath that one. I was a huge fan of Sekiro, especially I think Sekiro might have the best final boss fight of any of the Soulsborne games. Um,
I haven't officially beat that game. I've been
okay, no
like I
spoilers. No
I've been
sp-
playing it though. It's a lot of fun. Like the different bosses they have in that game are really cool, and the parrying is so satisfying.
yeah. I really like the fact that the ingenuity of, because they went from Bloodborne to Sekiro. Bloodborne was kind of more about going on the offensive. You know, you would recover health and all that stuff, going more on the offensive, and then they kind of completely did a 180. Whereas Sekiro is all about defense and parrying and all that stuff. In fact,
Mm.
some of the bosses in hilarious twist, you can essentially cheese them just by like parrying them to death. It's kind of the weirdest thing, you know,
Yeah,
kind of how the interactions work. But I won't spoil anymore because you haven't had a chance to finish it, and it's definitely a wonderful game.
I'll definitely have to give it more of a shot for sure.
So, okay, looks like we got some people coming into chat. So we can go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody. This is officially the 41st episode of the
Wow.
Yanni After Dark podcast. Yeah, I've been doing this for a bit, it seems. And as always, we have on an amazing guest. And again, this is an interesting twist for me because this is somebody that this is all brand new for me, and it's the first time I'm officially meeting you. So
Yeah,
this'll which is all on me. I had to reschedule several times, unfortunately. Um,
that's
and
fine.
and so with that being said, I want to welcome Skojskull.
Yeah,
Okay,
Skojskull.
and I am going to, as always, hand it over to the guest for a minute and let them introduce themselves because nobody can do it better than the guest. So, Skoy, if you want to take a minute to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Skojskull, but you call me Skull if you want. And I am a Monster Hunter creator here on Twitch and YouTube. I I do a lot of content revolving around new updates and um, just mostly like funny moments that happen around the game with my friends and everything. And my goal around Twitch is to basically play with as many people as possible and just like enjoy the gaming experience. I'm not the best at the game, but I have a lot of fun with everyone for sure.
Now, um, I remember, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with Monster Hunter, but I do remember from Coconut's interview and all that, I remember a little bit about the game. But what
Hmm.
class do you play in the game?
Insect Glaive.
Okay, which is.
So it's like a bow staff type weapon
Okay,
where you have an insect on your arm too, and you send it out. You get different power ups from the insect to make yourself stronger, and
oh,
you can
cool.
fly around and hit around monsters.
This
It's
is,
great.
oh, what's his name? This is reminding me of something from Naruto. Um,
Oh,
yeah, uh, the people in the Hidden Leaf Village that use insects to like absorb
oh,
chakra.
Shino.
Yeah, Shino. Yeah, yeah. It
Yes.
kind of reminds me of that. Um, but I like that. Like I said,
That's
I
a lot of
haven't had a
fun.
whole lot of experience with the game. Now, um, in getting to Monster Hunter, so we talked a little bit before this just about Bloodborne, about Sekiro. Essentially, we talk about is that category, that classification of games being Soulsborne. But what it really harkens back to is the old Legend of Zelda action RPG, you know, uh, where in a lot of ways there's a risk reward system based on different builds, different approaches to bosses and games and all that stuff. Has that always been something that's kind of been an appeal for you? Is the action RPGs and games where you were rewarded for different approaches?
I love those, to be honest. I actually grew up playing a lot of like shooter games, shooter type games, FPS, and I I grew up playing like Battlefront 2, and then I got into Call of Duty, and then Overwatch. So I actually grew up playing those, and then I recently got into the more open world type games like Monster Hunter and Zelda and Skyrim and stuff like that, like recently. So like 2 years ago, I started getting into those, and I really fall in love with that kind of game. And yeah, I've been playing a lot more of that. It's a lot of fun.
Skyrim, the greatest game remade 20 times over.
Oh my goodness. And that was bought by Microsoft.
Yep. So we'll probably have another Xbox. What's the new Xbox coming out? I can't remember. Uh,
Xbox Series X, I think it's
okay,
called.
so we'll have a Series X exclusive for Skyrim, I'm sure. Uh,
For sure.
I believe it is the game that's come out with the most renditions on any variety of platforms of any game of all time. I do believe it's something like that because it came out for like PC, Xbox, or 360,
Switch.
Switch, PS4,
Hmm.
and then they redid it on Steam,
Hmm.
and then there was like another like a definitive edition that came out for PS4 and 360, and so. But you know what? I don't mind. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I I know that a lot of people love Morrowind, and I love Morrowind too. But I think Skyrim's got to be probably number one for me.
Nice.
But I love those type of open world games too. What kind of is the draw for? Because that's that dichotomy of going from shooter games, which are usually more encapsulated to if you're doing the PvP aspect is usually encapsulated to a more specific finite arena. And even if you're doing the storyline, it's on a more linear path usually to go from that
Mhm.
to more open world aspects. What was kind of the transition from going point A to point B, so to speak?
I think it was more of like a slow transition. It never appealed to me when I was growing up. I was just like, I want like direction. I need to know A, B, and C where to go. And then it was just like over time it was a lot of my friends like really were into Skyrim. They were really into like Zelda and everything. I've never played those games before. And um I would play like platformers every now and then, like Mario and stuff, but um it was really like Skyrim started leading me into it. I started like kind of exploring different sections of the world and like different characters and like just multiple different stories. And then Breath of the Wild came out for the Switch, and I started really playing and getting into that, and I loved it. And then yeah, it just like it was over time slowly like building up to the grinding of different games like Monster Hunter especially, and then the uh yeah, it was just a it definitely my perspective on video games definitely has changed. I don't know if it's just me getting older or
Well, yeah, mine has changed too. I don't know, and I'm kind of the same way. I don't know if it would be attributable to getting older, but I think it's also perhaps there's been a shift in the paradigm where back before good internet connections, in some cases any internet connections at all, and PvP and competitive pro scenes and all that, you had single player games. Now that's become more of a niche because most games are going to incorporate some form, it seems like, of multiplayer to have that longevity that, as they say in gaming terminology, replayability that you get out of it. So you can take a 10-hour single player campaign and turn it into endless hundreds upon hundreds of hours of a PvP campaign. So
Mm,
I think that it's more of a we've come full circle type of thing. Whereas when we were growing up, like single player games were more common, and so the
mhm.
PvP games, like I grew up with. I guess my introduction to PvP would have been something like Halo or GoldenEye, because I'm old, and
Nice.
but getting into those games is like, okay, this is completely different. We're playing back then. This the multiple TVs hooked up or whatever, um, and we're playing a game competitively against each other. You couldn't do that in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, for instance. Now, Ocarina of Time is, like I said, that's more of the in the minority than the other games. Like now, it just seems everything else has kind of come out like that. But in particular, because I know how much you love Monster Hunter, I know how much time you've put into it. Because let's talk about this a little bit with coconuts.
Mhm.
Um, what got you into Monster Hunter in particular?
Coco.
Oh, okay, really? Okay,
He was the one who got me into the game, actually. Yeah. I was playing an Overwatch match, and I actually ran into him in there.
same. So
What?
yeah, I met coconuts from Overwatch, and
Huh?
uh, and I followed him a while back, and then I ended up taking a hiatus from Twitch, and I deleted my Twitch because I didn't know if I was gonna come back. And when I
Mm,
did come back, eventually I don't know. He showed up in recommended channels. I think because I had been like I said, I have my friends like Cosmic Born, K Witty, people who play these types of games, and he showed up in recommended channels, and I was like, I think I remember this dude, and I did. I remembered him in particular, his awesome personality, and kind of his his moniker, and I remembered that I had been playing Overwatch. I had a very very tilting match, as Overwatch can be, and then the
mhm.
very next match it was Coconuts, and I think it was him and four other people. and he was in a group, and I believe it was me, and then those five were grouped, and he was just the most awesome person ever. I was like, I was still tilted, and I was like, I'm gonna play whatever I want, and he was like, yeah, it's fine, play what you want, have a good time, and all that stuff. I was like, okay, okay, I'll actually, this was open queue still. I was like, okay, I'll actually play tank. And afterwards, I went and dropped a follow, and I was so excited to come back. One of the biggest joys, having been on Twitch and on this, kind of roundabout of social media for a while, is seeing people that are genuinely awesome people growing their platform. And I remember he had like 10, 15, 20 average viewers, and now he's, getting over 100. It seems to be pretty frequently now, and that's awesome. So yeah, I love hearing that. I love that we have that connection. Both met him in Overwatch of all
That's
things.
crazy. I didn't think that's funny. I was actually like, he linked his Twitch and everything in the chat, and I was just like, why would you do that? That was my first perspective. So it took me a while to really to watch him, but my friend checked him out, and he was just like, yo, you need to check him out. You really need to check him out. And I was just like, okay, I'll give him a watch. And he was like a really genuine, nice guy. Rated him a few times, and we talked in call a few times too. And then he talked to me about Monster Hunter, and saying how this is gonna be like the next big thing. This is gonna be huge for Twitch, and I really want you to give us a shot. So I gave it a shot, and I lost interest in the game quickly. I then, because I didn't really upgrade my gear, I didn't really do any of that. I just wanted to like get through the story and just like get to the good parts. But I didn't take my time with it. I took a break, and then I got back into it, and I played Monster Hunter again. I restarted my account, and I grinded up and went for it. And now I play at two accounts.
Now, when I gave you a shout out here, I saw Layers of Fear. I would have to come back and ask you about that because I love horror games. But with uh, with going into Monster Hunter, so you essentially have two perspectives that we're talking about, where you went through the first time, and Hisashi, we went through the first time, and you kind of just, as you said, because I think we all do that with, in particular with certain games. I know a game that I was really, really bad about um, rushing through the first time that I played it, and wishing that I had gone back and really enjoyed it a lot more, um, was, of all things, Final Fantasy X. Um,
Mm.
but I really, really, I think, enjoyed the game more going back and kind of taking it a lot slower and doing a lot of side quests and stuff like that. Um, when you kind of had that, I guess that click, that connection where you really started to enjoy the game, was it a particular moment, like a boss fight, or was it just resetting that pace?
I think it was when I was finally able to like really gather and understand what the game is,
Okay,
and like kind of realize that you're not gonna fight against other people all the time.
right.
Unless you want to consider like arm wrestling in the game, like a PvP situation. But
I'm thinking of The Witcher now. Um,
oh my god. But yeah, no, it was like really finally gonna be able to learn and understand the game, and the fact that you can have like 16 people in a lobby so that you can play with, that made the experience that much better because like I can play with everyone. Like this is like the first time I ever had a game where I can like play a really awesome game and fight different monsters with all like different kinds of people.
have you played Remnant of the Ashes?
I have a little bit.
Okay,
I
okay.
really love the game. I want to continue it.
So,
I definitely do.
so in Remnant, when you bring other people into a boss fight, they up the stats on the boss. They add more add-ons to the boss, some more ads that spawn and all that stuff.
Hmm.
I didn't get a chance to ask Coconuts this, but when you bring more people into a lobby, do they do that as well? Do they like change the stats on the boss, give it more health? Give.
No, it's pretty much very similar. It depends on like the type of quest it is. Like if you have a like I say a tempered like as which is like a harder um okay, let me explain it like this. So there's a
Okay.
regular monster
Right.
that would have the same amount of health each time you fight it. And then it would have a tempered version of that monster which has more health and it's stronger. And then depending on the amount of rewards it has, I think it has more health and it's either tougher to beat or something like that. I think so. And then there's another level above that. So it's just like there are different stages of the same monster.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I got what you're saying. So essentially, it's not the the default. The party number picks the difficulty. It's you all actively select it based on the quest.
Hmm.
Okay. And how would you explain? Sorry, I had coconuts do this, but it's always helpful, especially because I have a lot of people in the community who don't play over or who play Overwatch and who don't play like Monster Hunter. How would you describe Monster Hunter um, to somebody that had never picked it up before?
It's a very extremely community driven game where you work together to reach a certain goal. And in this case, you would gather your group and you would fight a specific boss. You would beat the boss and you would get rewards to build its gear and to make its weapons, to make your character look cooler and to have like resistances towards like other bosses in the game. And so you like switch around different gears and everything. And um yeah, it's like it's very Dark Souls-esque if you want to explain it to someone that doesn't really know about the franchise. It's very like you fight a boss, you kill it.
Well, and it seems to me to be very old school traditional RPG in a lot of ways too. And I think one of the most rewarding things about RPGs, and I know that there's a couple of memes about it, in particular one with World of Warcraft, where I don't know if you ever saw, even if you didn't see the Warcraft movie, did you ever see a poster for it?
I have a while ago. I heard
Okay.
mixed things about it.
Did you? Okay, there was a meme that came out of the poster, and it had I'll have to find it and send it to you, but it had uh and I'm not engrossed in the lore, so I can't really remember the characters' names, but it had like the main character on the normal version of the poster, and then it had somebody do a meme where if this guy actually had epic level gear and it was all mismatched, like red, purple, green, like he had like a yellow like helmet, but like his pants were blue and his pauldrons were like red and green, and it but it's one of those things where that was kind of a cool element in these older school RPGs when you got that final item or boss fight or whatever, and it was the Excalibur level, epic weapon that was like running around like lightning glowing off of it and all that stuff. And
Hmm.
it seems kind of like what I've seen of some of the Monster Hunter gear and all that stuff. That seems to be a kind of a rewarding element that you get to. I hate to use the term show off because it makes people sound pretentious when they're not trying to be, but it does seem like a really cool thing to run and show your friends like the gear that you've got that you worked really really hard to get and stuff like that. Um,
Oh, absolutely show it off.
yeah, okay. What
Like
are
if you work so hard to get something, it's just like you just beat the final boss of the game. Look at this awesome gear. You'll get there too.
now what as far as going into the community aspect of it, what
Mhm.
about it is you know inherently community driven in your opinion?
Um, it's very there's a lot of spice of life stuff in the game as well. Is that what's called? I think it's spice of life, where there's like little things in the game that happen, and just there's a lot of small things like you can chill in the hot tub with all the other community members going to the sauna and stuff. And but the one of the biggest ones is um slice of life. I think so.
I think you could call it slice of life. I also think you could call it just simply
Just like
immersion.
small things in the game.
Things
Yeah.
that make the game more immersive. Like, we go back to
Yeah.
Skyrim. The fact that you can turn on now a function to where you have to eat and stuff like that. So now there's a
Hmm.
reason for me to carry around a damn sack of 300 potatoes. For before there wasn't really any reason to, like, hang on, let me stop fighting. Let me, heal half a point of health by eating a potato. Um, day-to-day
The
activity. Okay.
but yeah, I think one of the biggest ones is definitely like working together to beat a certain monster in the game, and like helping, especially helping newer people get into the game and stuff, because there's always newer people, like asking questions about the game that are really curious to what to do or what gear to get specifically, and there's always like other community members. Like everyone's there to like help out. No one's there to like really be above anyone. They're just kind of, we're working together, which is
Now,
really nice.
how involved is the developer aspect of it? I mean, are the developers really involved in the community as well?
I think so. Yeah, they've been updating like whatever happens to the game. They've been updating pretty much almost every month for the game with free updates, and like for giving like a new monster, a new gear.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. And now I think it's this last big update. I'm not sure if they're gonna have any like small ones, but this is the last official one that we're gonna get until the next game.
So, diverting just a little bit from the game aspects of it, I was talking about this with a friend last night. Got to talk about it with somebody that actually is really engrossed in the game. How do you feel about the movie?
I'm excited in ways that you might not think. I'm excited for the memes.
Okay, okay. No, that's
I
fair.
mean,
I,
and there's one monster in there that is my favorite monster. Is gonna be put in HD, and I'm really excited. Oh my gosh!
what monster is
So
that?
Gore Magala,
Hmm. I'll
he's a
have to look this up. I don't think there's any with movies like that. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is. Let's see here.
he has like three different stages, which is really cool.
That is not the right one.
You trying to look him up, or
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I can grab
okay.
a picture? No, you got it.
Oh, yeah. That. Oh, okay. It's almost like a spiny lizard mixed with a snake, like a cobra.
I can kind of see that.
That's really cool. It's definitely something very Godzilla-esque. No, that's awesome. I can definitely see how you would want to see that animated because it looks super badass.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so the oh my lord. Um, Now I do want to ask too. Since we were talking about kind of story-driven games, is there a story like a main centered story in Monster Hunter?
There is a main center story. Um, I feel like it's. I don't know if it's like I would consider it the main focus, but there's a
Hmm.
lot of lore and a lot of backstory that happens for like each of the different monsters in the game and the
Okay.
characters. So it's just like they have really good storytelling, but I think the main focus is like mostly the gameplay.
Okay.
But the lore is crazy.
Well, I definitely like. That sounds very reminiscent of Bloodborne or the Soulsborne games, where you kind of have to, if you want to know the lore, it's there. You kind of got to dig deep for it, but otherwise, you kind of just go and smash things. Just
Yeah.
kind of go and kill things. So, okay. Well, I want to now, of course, one of the reasons to come on the podcast is, it's talking about games is obviously a core aspect of it. Most content creators still fall under the category of um, playing games. There's definitely a growing community of people doing just chatting, or doing
Hmm.
cooking streams, or exercise and all that. But for the most part, it's still a lot of it is centered upon playing games. So we kind of go over that. Now, kind of getting into things about streaming. What brought you to, even before going with streaming? What brought you to Twitch?
I was actually on YouTube for the longest time.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out what to do really with that, and I did a lot of variety stuff, which never really grew the channel. But the main person that really got me into things was Pro Syndicate.
Okay. And
Um,
I'm not familiar with um I'm not I,
uh,
so I was just gonna say what is Pro Syndicate or oh
his
okay
name is huh?
sorry I said what okay so who I'm sorry
Oh, that's good. He's a Minecraft, or at the time when I found him, he was a Minecraft zombie player and Call of Duty Zombies. So
okay
he would center his content mostly around those type games, and I thought that concept was really really cool. I never seen someone record gameplay and stream it like in front of an audience. I was
okay
just like, that's weird, that's crazy. So I decided to give that a shot. I made my own like Minecraft and zombie content and stuff like that, and it never really grew. But then once I started getting to Monster Hunter, I live streamed that, and I started gaining more of a community, and a lot of people liked that play with me, and it's really nice.
now when you say you live streamed it did you live stream it first on YouTube or did you go to
Twitch.
Twitch okay so
I didn't find out about Monster Hunter until 2018, and then I started doing YouTube around 2013.
okay so there's a lot of people that kind of have this commonality where they went to YouTube first, and you still do. You said you still do YouTube content creation.
Yes.
Um, how entwined do you think it is now at this point, as having done both? How entwined do you think it is to for anybody that wants to grow as a content creator to have both YouTube and Twitch at their disposal?
I definitely think it's very important to look into multiple different platforms, because growing on Twitch is very, very difficult because there's not much discoverability on Twitch compared to other platforms. Like TikTok is like a really great platform to try and grow up a community on there. I haven't looked into it yet because I've been putting my primary focus on YouTube, but um, that's something definitely I want to look into.
Now, it, if the so to speak, the growing is kind of limited on Twitch. As somebody coming from YouTube, what was your primary focus in using Twitch? Was it to connect with audiences live, or was it also to? Because I know a lot of people what they'll do. I think in particular, there's a YouTube content creator who also is a Twitch streamer called John Wolf. He does a
Hmm.
lot of horror games, and what he does is he uses his Twitch stream to record the YouTube content, and then he just kind of uploads. So when he does, let's say he does an 8-hour stream,
Hmm.
he'll do 4 hours like of a horror game, and he'll use that as the basis for his YouTube content, and then the 4 hours like before that might just be Dead by Daylight or something, where he's not recording it necessarily unless he's like trying to do a highlights or something, but he uses it not just as a platform to kind of reach out to people in a live setting. He uses it as um, the way to record VODs and highlights and all that stuff for the purpose of YouTube creation as well. Is that kind of how you use it as well, or
I usually record separate content, but
okay,
sometimes I would take content from Twitch and put them on there. Mostly because I use a lot of music that um, it's kind of difficult to use for videos and on stream. But yeah, mostly I would make different content around YouTube compared to what I do on Twitch, but
okay.
they connect.
Hey, you brought up an important aspect I want to talk about. You talked about how in the beginning your growth was kind of limited, doing like variety and stuff like that.
Hmm.
When somebody is getting started, in particular, what do you kind of, or if we were to do the time capsule uh, analogy here, what would you tell yourself, years ago that the knowledge you have now when it comes to content creation and trying to do variety or trying to do too much in the beginning?
Um, I mean, explore, like I would say, do enjoy what you're making for sure, and then you'll find what it is you want to do for circling around your content. It's just in the beginning for me, it took years to like finally figure out like what I really really want to do with my content. Um, like I was just kind of exploring it, which is totally fine.
Right.
And I was doing variety for the longest time, but um, I would try to do things a little bit differently than a lot of other creators. Like I would do like one sitting playthroughs. I would play a game like beginning to end without taking breaks, and then or I would do these like stream race things where I would compete with other broadcasters and try to see whoever beats the end of the game first
Oh, that's
wins,
cool.
kind of thing. Yeah, and which brought up a lot of memes and things that me being a bikini top I don't want to remember.
Don't worry, buddy. I did bodybuilding. I was in a speedo more times in my life than I should have ever been. Um, so don't worry.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, because I mean, so if your feelings kind of changed, or do you still hold to the fact that if you're starting out, you might variety's not necessarily. And by the way, when we're talking about this stuff is obviously nothing is set in stone. There's been people that have made it starting off variety. There's people that have had a
Hmm.
very difficult time, doing variety. Um, but from a personal standpoint, because there's people in these different communities that I'm in that hold to. Sometimes they hold, I think, steadfast to one belief over another. Like you can never do any variety. You always have to do one singular game. And then there's another group that's like, well, I don't want to do that. I'll get burnt out immediately. But then they never even finish a game. Every other day, it's a different game that they're playing. As as a beginning content creator, do you think that variety is detrimental to in general to what people are trying to do in terms of growing their stream, or do you think it's something that it's based on an individual person?
um it's hard to say really, because it's just like for me, I primarily focus on Monster Hunter content, but I do upload other things every now and then just to give people something. Um, because it's like this is the game I'm enjoying right now. Um, we're still uploading Monster Hunter content, but I want to show you guys this game and just kind of see like where people like feel towards that. And if people don't like it, then I usually don't upload more of that content. I just kind of just leave it as it is, I guess. I don't know.
Well, no,
Just
no.
once you
I like that idea though that you just said, and you kind of what you're talking about tacitly a little bit is using variety content to kind of test the waters too.
hmm
You know, because I think as a content creator, the biggest attribute any single content creator has is evolution, and that they continually are trying to grow or develop what they're doing. So they're not just going to, play one game for the next 10 years. If there is a game that they see tremendous growth in over the game that they're currently playing or something, they, start to dip their toe in the water, if you will. They start to go more into playing this game or these types of games, whether it's horror or sports or whatever. Um, and I no, I kind of do like that you mentioned that because I think I think that a lot of what happens with content creators is when you do find a game that you're growing in, and I know I personally went through this with Overwatch. I was very afraid when I left Overwatch for the first time. I was exclusively doing Overwatch, and then I left to go do Remnant. I was very afraid that nobody was going to watch me play at all, and that nobody had an interest in Remnant. It turns out there's a wonderful, very tight knit community for it. But I didn't know
yeah.
that at the time. I was just doing it because I enjoyed the game, and I needed to get the hell away from Overwatch before I lost any more hair. And so for me, it was more of an escapism, more of getting away, and it turned out to be um, beneficial. But that was a concern. I think for a lot of content creators, they're afraid of losing the viewers that they have if they switch. But I think that these like what you're doing, where you have your kind of centered content with Monster Hunter, where you kind of have it centered for your like live streams and stuff, and then you do separate for YouTube, I think that's a great way to go about it.
I actually do. What I mean by separate is that I record. It's everything is still Monster Hunter. Like everything
Oh,
is
okay.
Monster Hunter. It's just I record different things for Monster Hunter onto YouTube than what I would stream on Twitch. Because what I stream on Twitch is just me, mostly myself, playing either with some of my friends and the community, or just me and the community.
Okay.
Whereas the stuff on YouTube would be anime build videos, where I would make a build structured towards an anime character and their personality.
Okay.
And
I like that. I
uh,
same.
yeah.
I've done that in Remnant. I appreciate that. That's awesome. What have
Oh shit!
what has been some of the stuff that you've done?
I've
Oh,
done stuff.
and let me give you permit you real quick. If you want to go ahead and plug your YouTube channel, you're more than welcome to as well in the chat.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh, I gotta actually put your name though. Hang on. There we go.
There we go. There.
Awesome. Everybody, be sure to check out Skojskull's YouTube. Um, I have seen a video or two, and I really liked it. Um,
Which videos? Oh no.
so no, I try to do a little bit of research if somebody's got a YouTube channel, or try to go back and watch past VODs of Twitch. I'll put them on in the background and stuff like that. So, um, I want to ask you about the unboxing or whatever, or the thing that they sent you, the box.
Oh, I actually have it right next to
Oh, okay.
me. I don't know what's in it.
Oh,
I
you
don't.
haven't
I
opened it yet. Okay, okay.
No, I'm gonna open it on stream and everything. But it was a viewer of mine. He wanted to send something to me, and I was just like, okay. And then I love Monster Hunter, and he knows that, so I'm assuming it's something related to Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else in there that I don't want to know what it is, but it's a.
You open
Yeah.
it up as a giant anime pillow.
Oh my goodness, I would love that.
You're
I
like
would
this.
have that in the background if it's not too lewd. I would-
Where we're going, we don't need TOS. Uh, no, no, I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, it's same probably. Yeah, good to see Hubers. Uh,
It's the director's cut of Monster Hunter movie with Gore Magala plushie. I would take that.
oh, that'd be hilarious. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I always think that that's cool. How entwined content creators become with their community. And I know that I've said this before. And I know that there's some people call it perhaps pessimistic. Some people might call it pragmatic. But as you grow your stream and the viewership goes up and up and up and up, it becomes increasingly difficult to connect with everybody, to the same level and ability.
Of
Um,
course.
but I think that forming these tight knit communities in the beginning is probably one of the most wonderful things um, about Twitch. Honestly,
Hmm.
like the people you get to meet, like doing these podcast reviews, I've met so many wonderful people that I would not have had the chance to if it weren't for Twitch. Um, how much has your community kind of impacted um, you both as a content creator and outside of it? So, just you as Skojskull, and then you as you don't have to say your real name, but I mean you as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, Greatly. Honestly, they've impacted me a lot. I don't know where I would be right now if it weren't for them. Because I was this is technically another part-time job for me
Right.
at this point, and it's crazy, and I don't want to give up on it. It's something I'm truly passionate about. It's something I want to be as like a full-time thing eventually, of course. And yeah, right now it's just like take every step we can take, and really go for it. I
Now,
don't know.
your goal you're working towards right now is partner, right?
Ah, we'll get there. I I'm not too worried about it. It's something of course I would absolutely love because like you get extra emotes,
Right.
you get more quality options, like you can change the setting, like people a lot of people can change the settings for the stream and stuff.
I'll be honest.
Um,
I'm in it for the emotes. No, the number one is like I really want more emote slots. That's
oh for sure. I mean, I used to be like crazy and like really look at numbers and everything, but I think especially recently, um, I've been more just wanting to just build up what I have.
um I think that perhaps that might be um not only is that kind of the way that I look at it because when you're objective about it, I appreciate that, Pig. I appreciate that, buddy. Um, when you look at it, from an objective list, chronological list, it's to get affiliate, then it get a partner, and then it be start to work. Because a lot of people have this huge misconception that partner equals full time, and that is
No.
not the case.
No.
Um, and so, but there are kind of steps that people look at it. But I agree with you. I think that focusing on your community and the individuals in your community and building a solid foundation is the start to any furthering of being a full-time content creator or any dream of being a you know whether it be on YouTube or any social media really growing that you have to have that solid foundation because if you don't, I mean that's what people, when people come into your community, yes, they're there to connect with, to talk with you, but at some point they're going to connect with your community. And your community, in I wouldn't even say many ways, I would say in innumerable ways, your community is an extension of you. I mean, they're kind
Hmm.
of the proxy. I mean, in your community, I mean, there's, we obviously we won't say names, but I think if you're on Twitch long enough, you have the experience where you go um, to a channel, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch, and even if the content creator themselves are not toxic, if the community presents itself that way, it kind of makes you take a step back. If that's not something that's engrossing to you, you take a step back
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't really know if I want to be here necessarily. So, no, I agree. I think the building that community is an awesome thing to put your focus on instead of worrying about partner per se. Um,
Oh, definitely.
but
Like things will come to you with growth and everything over time. Like you will get that partnership. You will get that affiliate. It'll all come to you. Like you just gotta work hard. Of course, you gotta broaden your horizon with different like social media platforms and like really um, show off your content and show off what you can do and what you're about.
well,
And
and it's
yeah,
steady.
yeah,
It's
it's
not
steady.
the
Sometimes you get lucky, but yeah, it is.
yes, sometimes you get lucky, but I think there's a huge misconception of the overnight explosion of growth, the uh, sensation, the TikTok legend who put out one video and got 20 million, 30 million, follows, likes, whatever. I mean, that is very rare, but um, they're kind of in analogous terms. There's a writer named Brandon Sanderson, and he's a fantasy sci-fi writer. And he taught a course, a collegiate course on writing sci-fi and fantasy, and he actually put up the videos as podcast on YouTube, and it's really amazing. And he talks at the very beginning of the very first class, essentially the muse of writing, divine inspiration, whatever you want to call it, and you know editing. And he's like, when it comes down to it, he goes, this is, this over here is where you get inspired and you write 10 perfect pages. This over here is where you write 100 pages and you throw away 90 pages of it, right? At the end, you're still left with 10 pages. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter, how it comes about, you're still left with 10 pages. So you can get there through a steady progression and doesn't necessarily have to be that explode. And I think a lot of people get frustrated. Um, what would you tell people who are, I don't want to say in a rut, but who are kind of, stagnated a little bit on their growth and stuff like that and are worried about it?
Um, I would say like take a step back and try and figure out what you want to bring out in your content and how you want things to be portrayed. Maybe make a few changes. Try and figure out what will work. And if you have like one video or one stream or one thing that really hit, try and figure out why and like be like, okay, why did this work? And then try to implement that to other videos or other content. Um, but yeah, definitely one of the big things is like, I'll let you.
Oh, Left Turn, thank you so much for the raid, buddy. I sincerely appreciate it. Hang on, let me get you a shout out. Oh, go ahead. Don't let
That's a
me.
cool username.
Left Turn only. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dead by Daylight. I've been meaning to play that game.
Same. I have friends that swear by it, but
Mm-hmm.
I have not gotten into it yet. But they kind of the fact now that they have a Silent Hill, though they have Pyramid Head as the killer for Silent Hill. I will turn right. What? You're fine. You're fine. Left. Crashes into stream. He's making a left turn. Oh my God, he's making another left turn. He's in a circle. Um.
It's an endless circle.
Yeah. Um. Don't tell me where to turn. I'll tell you where to be. um. But yeah, I think that they really caught me with like introducing Pyramid Head, but also because they have Stranger Things in there, and I absolutely
Oh yeah, bro, I love Stranger
yeah,
Things.
I
Oh my
absolutely
god.
adore that show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but uh, kind of going back to the idea of stagnation. One of the things that you're kind of again you're kind of tacitly talking about is having that level of introspection where you go and you review. And I know this is an uncomfortable subject for a lot of people because people don't like to watch their own VODs. They don't like to, you know, hear their own voice, watch their mannerisms. But I think that that's important.
So you get used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. But I also
Uh-huh.
think that it's important. I think that um, being able to go back and not just but you have to be fair to yourself. Don't just pick out all the criticism. Pick out the stuff that you like too. What did you do that you liked? What did you do that you think was, as you said, that kind of helped your video or your stream pop off? And I think a lot of people, really kind of miss that opportunity is using their streams not only, you know, just as live feed, but also to go back and watch them. Um, when you're editing stuff for YouTube and all that stuff, has that really kind of helped you develop as a content creator as well to be able to go back and kind of watch stuff over and over again?
Definitely. I mean, I watch stuff probably like over 100 times, especially when editing, because like you put a few edits in, you have to rewatch what you just edited, and then you have a few more edits in, and then you rewatch everything all over again just to make sure it works. And then it's like, oh, this little thing is like a little like empty, nothing happens in that, so I'm gonna cut that out. So there's like a lot of stuff that happens with editing, and but yeah, just definitely over time you will get used to your own voice. Because I hated mine for the beginning, especially, and like I wasn't. I just wanted to like record it and put it out. So that's all I did in the beginning. And then I was just like, okay, maybe I should put more effort into my video. But yeah,
Where did you how did you learn how to do like all the editing and stuff like that?
I was self-taught. I was
Okay.
I looked up a lot of the video tutorials, like how to put a webcam into frame, how to do all this, and then I figured out like OBS was a thing. I was just like, this puts everything into one place. What? So it was just like I used an Elgato capture all the time, and then I used like an iPod on a an iPod on a tripod stand, and to record my face, and then I would put it all together, and I would like sync up the audio and everything, and now I just have to click record.
Technology is a wonderful thing. Um,
Oh, definitely.
I no, I appreciate that though. So, with the along with the editing and stuff, do you also do any of your own graphic design for like the headers and stuff, or do you have somebody that does those, or
I did pretty much everything aside from the art. Like I wish I could be that good at art, but all the art stuff on my channel is done by a lot of talented people I've commissioned.
okay, awesome. Um, going forward, these skill sets that you have learned, how, because one of the things again I like to talk about with different communities is, you know, if, and we don't like to think negatively, but if
Mm.
a stream doesn't work out, the skill sets that you learn, applying those going forward, how invaluable do you think all the stuff that you've learned from streaming is?
Like
Like with the editing, with networking, with, I
I
mean, it
I
seems
definitely think.
seems like there's
Sorry.
so many skills you learn from being a streamer and a content creator.
Hmm. It's hard to implement everything because it consumes a lot of time. Like editing, it takes a lot of time. I'm only able to upload like once or twice a week,
Okay.
and then like involved with like my outside job with Amazon, and then um like trying to make videos and streaming and everything. So it's like it's a lot to handle at once, but it's something unless you're in a group channel, it's something hard to manage really.
Okay.
But
Um, and going forward, like what are some of your plans like in the future for your stream and content creation?
I definitely want to continue building up the community. Of course, I want to be able to get partnership at some point. Um, but just mostly, I just want to build the community and continue making videos. And I really, it blows my mind where I'm at right now. Like making, like having merchandise and everything too. It's, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it's a very
But,
surreal feeling, isn't it?
mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it for the world. I think it's one of the most wonderful feelings I've ever had. Not, I don't have merchandise yet, but I mean, just seeing like your own emotes, seeing the same faces in chat all the time, hearing how
Yeah.
people are doing, especially knowing, I think the biggest um, reward as content creators, and I don't want to speak for you, so I'll just say one of the things that I've experienced, and you feel free to add your own input, is when it's not about the subs, not about the gifted donations or anything like that. It's when somebody comes in and says, hey, I was having a rough day, but your stream really cheered me up.
That hits me hard every time.
Yeah.
I see that I'm just like I don't think people understand this, but like you, I imagine you and myself, I have really rough days a lot of times.
Hmm.
Sometimes when I stream, and the fact that people come by and like they're there to like be there and just like it's it helps you too. It really does.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I would I'd fairly put myself in that category too. I think a lot of people have this huge misconception that streaming or content creating or anything in that category is just us sitting in front of a camera playing a video game for several hours. And it's so much more mentally taxing than that.
Really is.
You know, because you have to essentially you have to perform uh, a goal or an objective while carrying on a conversation. I mean, imagine if you were at Amazon, or I worked at GameStop, and as you're doing your job, every single day that you were doing your job, you were having to explain to a new hire how to do the job that you're doing, you know, as you're doing it. And it's a very um, you know, mentally taxing skill to learn. Not that it doesn't have amazing rewards to it, and especially being, like I said, somebody coming in and saying that, they really enjoy being around, and you made their day better. Um, but yeah, I think that that's a misconception that I had, because I always have people will say, so you stream, like, yeah, so they're like, why do people come to your channel? And you have to kind of sit there and think. But as I've said before, this is live television that you can interact with. You can go watch the new, was it Freeman or whatever, the new Ryan Reynolds movie, but you can't
Hmm.
talk with Ryan Reynolds live action while he's performing on the set of the movie. Um, uh, Imagine trying to fight a furious while you're doing your taxes with the other hand, and they're having your brain. Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially, and I can kind of relate too with what you're doing, because seeing your streams, a lot of times you explain what you're doing as you're fighting these bosses, and that might be easy when you're overpowered to fight a boss, but some of these new bosses that come out, I mean, that's difficult to do.
They're rough. Like especially these the recent one wasn't too bad, but the past two have been like, hey, let's just like really beat you up for this update.
I'd be uber impressed. Yeah, I mean, I would too. I mean, it's like those people that, I don't know if anybody here plays poker, but it's like those people that do like the 30 multi tables at once. Like, I no, like, no, I can't do that. So that would definitely be super impressive. But I do, and again, this is the first time that we've actually had a chance to talk and meet.
Yeah.
But I do really appreciate how um, how respectful and grateful you are to your community. I can say unequivocally that everybody I've brought on has definitely shared that particular attribute. But I do still think it's very admirable, because even though I've been very blessed to have almost exclusively met people that share that attribute. Not every, we know, again, we won't name names, but we know as content creators we've seen enough that not every content creator feels that way,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And so it's always awesome to meet somebody like yourself who holds their community in such high regard. And I'm sure that they do the same, and I'm sure that's why they do the same, because of how much you cherish and respect them. So,
Hmm.
um, with that being said,
Thank you.
no.
Damn.
That's an awesome thing to have, as not, and that's, we could say that it's a skill set, but that's an awesome thing to have as a human being, not just as a content creator, is
Hmm.
to be appreciative of what people do for you, and to value doing things for others as well. Um, so with that being said, do you care if we do a Q&A?
Go for it.
Okay. So I have my question that I want to ask, but just to let everybody know who's new. So at this point, if you have any questions that you want to ask Skojskull, um, feel free to do so. Of course, as always, we keep it, for anybody new, we keep it TOS friendly. Um, things that are appropriate and on topic. Memes are welcome. We know that's going to happen. But we try to keep it on topic, and of course, TOS friendly. So while everybody's kind of doing that, I will give you all a minute, and I'll kind of lead with a question that I had. Layers of Fear. How did you enjoy it?
Oh my gosh. I love psychological horror when it comes to playing horror games. Jump scary type horror games are have been a little meh, like especially with Five Nights at Freddy's. I haven't. I love the lore behind the series, but I'm not a fan of the game, like games, I guess you could say.
Okay. So
But the
you're not a fan, as in you don't like the fact that they scare you, or you don't like the gameplay, or
the gameplay,
okay,
because it's just mostly centered around jump scares.
right, I
It's not
gotcha.
really anything like psychologically taxing. But the like layers of fear was definitely like psychological horror based, and
Right.
holy shit, that was, oh my goodness. By the way, do we want me to swear? I'm so sorry. I
No,
forgot to
you're
ask.
fine. You're fine. You're fine. No, no, no.
Okay,
Yeah, you can.
but hmm?
Oh, I was gonna say you can say whatever you want. It's just we always say like obviously you as a content creator know like no TOS. So like, but other than that,
Mhm.
no, go. Feel free to say what you want. More than welcome
Gotcha.
to.
But yeah, it was. I love psychological horror type games. Outlast is definitely one of my favorite series. I love that one. Um, like the second one especially was very psychological horror more than jump scare. The first one was more jump scare, but it was. They're both really great games.
I Yeah, I think unfortunately I had played those two before coming to streaming, so it doesn't really do me any good to kind of play those on stream. Because I mean, let's be honest, the major aspect of the content creation is you getting scared, and if you've particularly memorized certain parts, like in particular, I think of like Outlast One, when you walk by the guy in the wheelchair, and you walk by the first time and he doesn't do anything,
Ah,
you walk by the second time and he grabs you.
yeah.
Spoiler alert for anybody that that hasn't played it. Sorry about that,
It's been out for a while.
but that's something to where like I'll never forget that because that was one of the first major jump scares. So now it's just kind of like I know what's kind of coming. Um, but I completely agree. I far more prioritize psychological horror. That's why I love Silent Hill series like
Mhm.
that, as opposed to jump scares. Like I guess Resident Evil. Well, Resident Evil's more action now than anything. It's not. I
Mhm.
don't even know if you'd consider it horror, but if there is a horror element to Resident Evil, it's definitely more jump scare type, more haunted house, thrill ride. Whereas Silent Hill's more, yeah, I'm not turning off the lights. Yep, not gonna get me, you spooky bastards. Um, teach you. Uh, do you have any other horror games lined up though for Halloween?
People have been wanting me to play Resident Evil 7. I think that was like the one of the recent ones that came out. That
Yep.
was really good. I've never seen anything. I've watched a few, like I haven't completely watched playthroughs, but I watched some videos on it. Definitely something I would like to maybe try. Um, what else? Visage. There's a few pathways of Visage I haven't explored yet. I've only explored my first pathway was the grandmother one, and people were saying, "Oh, that's not even the scariest one. That's like the least scary one." I'm like, what do you mean? I'm getting scared.
Yeah. I Again, I wish I wouldn't have played that off stream, but I did. But I
Mhm.
really enjoyed it. There's another one called uh was it Home Sweet Home or whatever it is, and it's episodic. I think they're on the second or third episode now. That it's like a Korean horror uh game, and so a lot of people love that. The one that I always recommend, uh, Sashi, I convinced her to play it. Is called Love Sam. It's like one of my favorite horror games, like the last
Oh,
couple of years. It's on Steam. It's super cheap. I think it's like $3.
wow.
Um, and it's definitely. I mean, I'd pay 15 for it. It's definitely worth that. It's just Love and then comma Sam SAM. Um, would highly recommend that one. Couple hour playthrough if you never played it before. Probably like 2 or 3 hour playthrough if you never played it before. Um, and yeah, it's fantastic. So if you're looking for something, I can send you that. Uh, but yeah, I absolutely love horror games. I got Dead Space lined up for myself. I've played it before. It's one of my favorites, but I'm gonna play it again. It's been a while since I played it,
It's so
so
good. Two is amazing. One and two are great.
yeah.
Three, I couldn't really grab my hands around, but they're a lot of fun. Oh my goodness.
And
There's one jump scare, especially in the Dark Souls and in the first Dead Space game that really got me.
I'll never
Mm.
forget, again, spoilers, but the game's been out for, like 14
What
years.
is it, 2008? Yeah.
Yeah, something at this point. But I'll never forget the first time I played the game, and it's a little bit in the game, maybe like 15, or not like a ways away, but I mean it's after your first couple of encounters. But
Mhm.
about 15, 20 minutes in, you get one of those voice recordings, and they're like they're coming in through the vents, and at that point you realize like even the voice recording that's in like this locker room or whatever, you realize how many damn vents are in this. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, there's one. There's one. Oh shit! Like you realize like everywhere. You never like paid attention to the vents at that point. Now you're like, okay, there's vents everywhere in this damn ship. Um,
Yeah.
so I had a friend and I. We even watched the animated movie. It was kind of interesting.
For Dead Space?
Yeah, there was a Dead Space animated movie.
Really?
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out. Is it good?
it's an animated movie.
No, yeah,
Uh,
I'll take that. Okay.
yeah, I mean, for a video game animated movie, I mean, it's yeah, it's all right. I mean, the thing about it is that I have a very big bias in horror films, and horror TV in particular, where I think one of the biggest sufferings of all time in the horror genre of anything is over explaining things. I don't think that you need to like take for instance like my favorite horror film of all time is Alien. Okay, and you haven't?
I know.
Oh,
There's a lot.
no, no,
The
it's
more you get, when you get to know me, there's a lot of games I haven't played. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen too. Luckily, we're in the vicinity of the things we have seen.
no, 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 it's okay. I mean, I would
No, I'm
always
just messing with you.
I would always recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we had Alien, we had Alien 2. It's like okay, cool. Now we're getting to like Alien Covenant where they're like explaining the entire origin and backstory, and it's too much. It's like I don't I didn't need to. That takes away the horror element
And the
to
mystery.
yeah the mystery, the horror element to like explain everything kind of going on, um, and I'm just not a big proponent of that. So when you have things like Dead Space, right? One of the big mysteries was kind of what the hell's going on. Even by the end of the first one, you didn't entirely know, and by the end of the second one, you didn't entirely know. But the movie and all that like takes, I think, too much in terms of liberty of trying to explain things. And then the third one, or the third game, kind of really tried to explain things. I don't know. I just enjoyed like the mystery horror element and my protagonist to just not have a voice. Um, no, I mean, yeah, Isaac Clarke, the best character to never say anything. Um, so that's just my personal preference. But yeah, when you have the mystery of stuff, or if you are going to explain the mystery, it almost needs to add, well, not almost, it does. It definitely needs to add another horrifying element to it, like Silent Hill 2. Arguably, in most people's categories, in most people's list, that is going to be top five horror games of all time. For most people, it's number one or
Really?
number two. Yeah. Um, and when you find out what's going on, it makes it that much more horrifying. Um, because I won't spoil it if you haven't played it because I'd highly recommend playing it, even though that one is 20 years old at this point.
I haven't played
No, no,
it
that's okay. That's okay. But it does add another layer of it being more graphic and more horrifying when you find out kind of what's really going on. So in
yet.
that case, explaining it is okay, but Dead Space, I don't know. The movie just went a little too far for me. That was a convoluted way.
Oh boy.
That was a convoluted way of saying, I don't advocate you download it on the internet, but download it on the internet. I'm just, I'm not advocating for doing such things, but if you do such things, the bunny knows nothing. Um, but did anybody else have any questions for Skojskull? Oh, and hi by the way, Star. How's it going, Quirky?
Mhm.
So we'll take just another minute.
The damn, I was gonna. So your whole thing is around the bunny?
I just put this on for the podcast.
Oh, this is your thing for the podcast. Have
Yep.
you done this for a previous podcast too?
Yep. I wear a onesie for every podcast.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I have
I.
a Winnie the Pooh onesie.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I
I just posted on Facebook, and then my family was just like, "That's one skinny Winnie the Pooh."
damn. Uh, I stopped eating honey. Leave me alone. Um. Yeah. So what happened was I have a bunch of put on the shark outfit. I
I have a shark onesie that's a few sizes too small. That's
oh
that I wear on occasion,
what's
and it's
the meme left shark or whatever
huh?
from the Katy Perry Super Bowl thing or whatever. People were like,
No,
"Oh, you
I
have
was just looking for a costume.
oh
I
okay
didn't know what to find. I found this shark onesie, and it was the biggest size they had, and I ended up having a pretty much I was streaming it with it on, and I had like a shark tail up my butt the entire time. It was great. It wasn't great, but
you know what?
I still,
Same. I have a dragon onesie. Same. I actually have two dragon onesies. One's red, one's black.
you
Um,
can't sit in those things. You
no,
can't.
no, they clearly were not meant for. They were not meant for the uses we demand. Um, write a review on Amazon. This thing is horrible to sit on.
They're
Um,
like, it's not meant to be said.
yeah. Um, yeah. It's like write a review like this peanut butter goes terrible in soup. Why would you? Um, but yeah, I have this one. I have a Chewbacca one, two dragon ones, um, an Akatsuki from Naruto. Um, oh, I would have worn that if I know you like
I
the
have a
Naruto.
cloak.
Yeah, well, that's basically what it is. It's their cloak. It's just in a onesie form.
That's
Um,
so cool. I need
and
to look that up now.
and then I have trying to think of what else. I have like a wolf one that's basically like a wolf's face split into two halves. One side is blue, one side is like orange.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, and trying to think of do I have any others? I don't think so unless I'm missing something. Um, I don't know. I'll go in there later. Like I said, I gotta keep track of them for tax write-off purposes. Like, this is a business expense now. Like, you know, show up to an accountant's office with like your stack of folders and a giant bunny onesie. Be like Easter was very taxing this year. Wow. But no, the reason I started wearing these is I wanted because I knew that people coming on might still be nervous about doing the podcast.
Hmm.
So no matter what I said, no matter how comfortable I tried to make it, so I started wearing these because I'm like, okay, look how ridiculous I look in a friggin' bunny onesie. Like clearly, you don't have anything to worry about because you know if anybody's gonna look at this and think you know, somebody looks ridiculous, it's gonna be me wearing the bunny onesie, especially with how serious I take it wearing the bunny onesie. This is not a joke.
Yeah, I used to
Um,
do. I used to do interviews and stuff like this too. Like, this is definitely a really great way to learn about different other content
yeah.
creators. And yeah, I've been doing a few of them with a lot of full time creators too, which is crazy. And it's always awesome to like learn about where they came from and where they want to bring it, even where the point they're at.
Well, and the idea for this is that you talked about at the very beginning. You talked about discoverability. We always hear about the dreaded Twitch and YouTube algorithms. if you play, for instance, Overwatch, and you're not in the top, I wouldn't even say 1%. If you're not in the top like 10 slots, nobody's going to find you, right? Unless they scroll all the way to the bottom.
It's
Um,
hard. It really is.
so the idea for this um, is to take what we're doing and to introduce, like for instance, I have people in the community, like I said, that play Overwatch, and they might not have met a Monster Hunter content creator yet. They get to meet you. Um, and that was kind of the idea for it. People that might not have discovered you otherwise, get to meet you and get to meet an awesome person that just based on sheer happenstance they might not get to meet otherwise. So this kind of was a way to kind of take control of that and be like, okay, well I know these awesome people, or I know these awesome people who know other awesome people, and I can introduce them to other awesome communities and people. I use that word a lot, but still, it's the truth. I can
Mhm.
I can basically take um, the and there's still a random factor in it, but I can kind of help to do my part to mitigate that, and to and to just get a bunch of people to meet that otherwise might not get a chance to. So that was kind of the whole idea behind it, and I get to take my background in journalism and do this. So it was a lot of fun. Uh,
That's awesome.
so with that being said, it doesn't look like there were any more questions. So I think if there was anything that you wanted to add, um, definitely give you a moment if you wanted to add something that we didn't get a chance to talk about.
I think this concept is very cool. I did the same thing too for a little while. I want to get back into it, and you're actually like really getting me to want to do it again.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's just a big time thing,
Yep.
but yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this. This is crazy. Like, I always love seeing what other people are doing, what other um people are into, especially in terms of games or like where they're taking their content around. And I definitely think you're doing a great job.
I appreciate it, and I like I said, it was awesome to get to meet Coconuts after or reconnect with him after not having spoken to him for a while, because I think there was like a year between him doing Overwatch and Monster Hunter.
Hmm.
And like I said, if I had not reconnected with him, I wouldn't have got to meet you, and other awesome people that I've met in the Monster Hunter community recently. Um, so with that being said, uh, we come to the last part where are you going to be streaming? Uh,
Tonight?
yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay. No.
I'll be
Okay.
on tomorrow.
Okay. So you'll be on tomorrow. Um, and so if that's the case, if the guests themselves not going to be streaming, we let them pick who we raid.
Me?
Yep.
Oh shit.
So if you want to type their name into chat, we'll do the raid message.
Mm, I have someone. It's always tomorrow somewhere. Oh, I
Yeah.
will fight you. That's AMW. He's a chill guy. He's really, really good. He's a good friend. Oh, I know who. Definitely someone I think you would be interested in talking to as well if you would like.
Oh, absolutely.
Right there. I sent it to you and
Oh, in Discord.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Oh, is that an L or an I at the very beginning?
Those are both L's.
Okay. Okay.
He's a real chill guy. His name's also Phil.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have a friend outside of Twitch named Phil. So
Oh my goodness.
there is a there is a you know, you could all start your like a charity stream or something. Call it philanthropy. Um,
Philanthropy.
and all right, bad puns. I'm sorry. With that being said, thank you so much again, buddy. I really, really appreciate this. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Um, and you know, as I always say, this does not have to be a one and done thing in the future. If you have any major event coming up, anything that you know, content creation or anything that you really, really want to have a platform to come on and talk about, you are more than welcome to come back on. Just you know, let me know. And with that being said, everybody, um, I was supposed to do an interview tomorrow with Pumpkin, but I think I'm going to have to reschedule that. For those of you, actually, let me cancel this real quick so I don't run out of time. Then we'll do the raid message. For those of
Hmm.
you who know, Mama Yan yesterday got her biopsy results back. She is cancer free, um, you know, from skin cancer. And so, with that being said, it's a beautiful day tomorrow. I think I'm going to reschedule and we're going to go to the zoo. We haven't been to the zoo in forever. Um,
That'd be
so
so awesome.
you know, apologies to Pumpkin, but um, you know, I always talk about spending time with family and you know, especially when something like this comes up, you know, take somebody
Hmm.
out for you know a nice afternoon. So go to the zoo, have a burger or something like that. Not at the zoo, but you know, not it's not the animals. They didn't make it. Um, but with that being said, I will let you all know when we reschedule that one, and then what was the name of the cancer? It was you know what? That's a good. It wasn't no, it wasn't melanoma. I know that. I think it was basal. I think it was basal because
That's
it was a slow growing one. That's basal.
mhm.
Yeah. Um. So
Congrats, all the same. Yeah.
yeah. She yeah, she is a four-time champion versus cancer. So she's had skin cancer before,
Wow.
breast cancer, and uterine cancer, and she has
Wow.
survived all of them. So it's a hell of a thing for sure. So with that being said, the next let's see here, the next um, podcast we're going to do is going to be on Sunday with Sunkadu at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we'll look forward to seeing you all then. So with that being said, let me do the where's the oh there we go. So there we go. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to send you all over to Night Citadel. Is that how you say him?
Just night side.
Night Side.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
I see. I see. Okay. Man, I am bad at pronouncing names.
No, you're
So
good, man.
so we're gonna send you over to Nightside. As always, everybody, here's the Twitter, here's the Discord, and here's the raid message if you have the emotes. Uh,
Click them links.
if not, feel free to spam you know the emotes that you have. I'm sure they will be more than happy to see you all. One last thing. Here's one more shout out for Skojskull. Be sure to check out the channel. This has been super awesome. Thank you so much, buddy. Um,
Thank you.
and yeah, and we'll see you all soon. So much love, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Oh, we'll just wait 1 minute for there's a slight delay. All right. Ah,
He's gonna be happy.
so thank you so much for doing this.